What's up, Beta Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm your host here, Fareed. As a part of today's update, we're taking a look at the macro markets, touching briefly on Bitcoin and Satoshi Nakamoto. We've also got Charles Hoskinson showing support for SUI. For anybody who doesn't know, has been doing extremely well, taking a look here at the price action on that particular blockchain. Following that, we've got updates surrounding the development of the Cardano ecosystem, where we'll be discussing Cornucopias and their upcoming token sale and their buyback program, as well as Nuvola launching the brand new Vola network. And we'll close out here by briefly highlighting Iagon, which will also be launching their own blockchain network. Now, if it's your first time stopping by, my goal is to help you find your way within the ever-growing Cardano network here. If you appreciate content like this, make sure to smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave those down below. So jumping right into the first bit of news here, we've got the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto potentially being revealed. If you caught my last update, I mentioned the fact that there's an upcoming HBO documentary that aims to allegedly know the identity of Satoshi, who's the founder and creator of Bitcoin. And in this particular article here, we have a breakdown of a gentleman named Len Sassman and why the documentary and the film are potentially pointing to him being Satoshi. So it states here, American cypherpunk and cryptographer Leonard Harris, also known as Len, has attracted the attention of the crypto space, with the poly market punters favoring the deceased computer scientist as the figure who will potentially be revealed as the inventor of Bitcoin in an upcoming HBO documentary. What's crazy is that when I actually released this first bit in my prior update, somebody had mentioned that they would be pointing to somebody who had unfortunately passed away, which in this case does appear to be true. However, I have no idea about who Leonard actually is. I'll be digging a little bit deeper into him, but it's unfortunate that he's actually passed. So obviously he can't defend himself, and there's no way for anybody to sort of prove or deny this particular claim. Now, there's a thread going on right now on X breaking down a little bit of his background and sort of his vision in terms of privacy. Again, I'm going to read this and break this down on my own, and I'll provide you guys with a little bit more context here as time goes on. Moving over, speaking about Bitcoin, we have an ancient Bitcoin wallet, which has now been moving assets which haven't been moved in over 10 plus years. So it states here, the mysterious Bitcoin whale has now sent over $3.8 million worth of Bitcoin to Kraken's crypto exchange. Now, does this potentially mean that they're getting ready to sell? We'll have to find out here over the course of the next couple of days. Now, I would be highly surprised if they did sell, given the fact that we've been trading in this particular range for such a long time. And hopefully we begin to see another breakout. And at that point, I would definitely imagine that, especially as we get closer to like big numbers, like $100,000 per Bitcoin, that we will see whales moving tokens and beginning to offload. So it states here that this particular Bitcoin wallet, or this amount of Bitcoin, was mined 1 month after the official launch of Bitcoin back in 2009. So this is obviously somebody that was in super early, very similar to someone like Len, who was an early cryptographer in the space. But it states here that after moving several times from 2011 to 2014, this particular account was basically dormant, right, for 10 years straight, in which the value of the Bitcoin that was held dormant raised or went from $474,000, so basically $500,000, all the way to $80 million. That's the power of Bitcoin here. That's the power of hodling. Of course, that's over a decade of the tokens not moving. But now it does appear that around $35 million worth of those assets are potentially getting ready to be liquidated. Moving over, we have Coinbase, which is now urging the courts to reconsider an appeal when it comes to the SEC, basically suing them and stating that they're a unregistered broker securities exchange, and that they've been selling securities through all of the altcoins supported on their platform. Now I'm going to read one small snippet here, which states, according to an October 5th letter, lawyers from Coinbase argued that the SEC's appeal is an admission to the fact that the criteria listed in the regulator's Howey test, which basically lay down the foundation for what's considered a commodity versus a security, were ambiguous and warranted closer examination at the time that they were sued. Now, we've seen the SEC taking back a couple of allegations, most recently highlighting the fact that a lot of altcoins are no longer considered securities. However, their lawsuits against Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken continue to roll on, and hopefully this is the beginning of the end for said cases. Moving over, we have interesting commentary coming in here from Raoul Paul, stating, to be fair, I didn't have this particular call on my bingo card, but it's nice to see tribalism in the space and that we're all better together. Well, if you're wondering what he's referring to, it's a positive post coming in from Charles Hoskinson about the recently hyped up SUI network. So Charles states, reading about SUI, it's good to see Georgia's work come to life. They deserve great success in this space. What's really crazy is the fact that a lot of members from the Cardano community have sort of lashed out at Charles for no reason, to be honest. I mean, I think as the founder of Cardano, it's completely okay for Charles to look outside and say, hey, other people have just as good tech as Cardano does. And it's really interesting to see how tribalism has evolved in this space, right? So it's basically boiled down to all or nothing. My chain is better than yours. Your chain doesn't do anything. My chain does everything. Now, for me specifically, I've been testing out and jumping onto other ecosystems and networks, for example, like Base. And I've noticed that they do other things that Cardano doesn't do well. And one of those being speed. So me, even as a content creator, I have to understand that while I love Cardano for the decentralization and the security, there are other networks out there, and some of them could potentially be doing things better than Cardano. The worst and the last thing that we want here is to have a closed mind or a closed-minded mindset that doesn't allow for us to understand or to see where some of the gaps that we have within our own ecosystem are, and that also prohibit us from being able to look elsewhere for inspiration and motivation as to how to better structure Cardano moving forward. So Charles actually released a video breaking down the fact that like this gentleman that he's referring to, George, actually is a really good and close friend of his. And that's why he's now been reading a little bit more into SUI, therefore that recent bit of commentary. Next, coming in here from Cardano with Paul. I just sat down with him for a live stream not too long ago. Make sure to go ahead and check that out. But he's basically sat down with Frederick Regard, the head of the Cardano Foundation, to talk about their recent visit to NASA, as well as the fact that Binance is now attending the Cardano Summit. So I believe there's some alpha there. There's also a 60% discount code for anybody who's attending the Cardano Summit. But it sounds like with NASA, the team that went out there was basically to teach them about blockchain. But then there's also a focus specifically on Cardano. So does this mean that, something big comes out of this in the future? There is the potential, but as it stands right now, it's just been that, a workshop where they've talked about blockchain and Cardano to be specific. Again, check out Paul's interview if you want more. Diving into the weekly development report here for Cardano, we have a Plutus user guide, which has now been updated with brand new Cardano improvement proposals that were recently submitted. We've got the BlockFrost platform integrating the Hydra node. Now, in addition to that, we have the voting threshold for Project Catalyst being reduced from 500 ADA all the way down to 25 ADA, therefore making it a lot easier for anybody that wants to participate in the governance of Catalyst to be able to go ahead and do that. Lastly, we have the registration, which is now open for the Cardano Days event taking place in Spain. And then looking at the right-hand side there, we've got some of the key stats when it comes to the ecosystem. Next, we've got updates when it comes to Cornucopias. So there's an upcoming sale, and I'm actually going to be hosting Rob, Greg, and Josh Jones here on the channel to discuss their jetpacks, their backpacks, their vehicles, and the recent apparel, which will all be going up for that particular sale. Now, it states here that the sale will be taking place on October 15th, and this should hopefully be confirmed very soon. And in terms of some of the new items, I feel like all this is brand new. We've seen vehicles already selling, but we haven't gotten any sales for jetpacks, backpacks, or actual apparel. Now, what I love about this is the level of detail and the level of nuance here. So we've got different backpack or jetpack manufacturers. We've got different brands for apparel, and all of these will be wearable directly within the actual game. Now, in addition to this, the team has also revamped their NFT marketplace, and so this will be the first sale taking place on that brand new platform. Now, the team has also mentioned the fact that there will be updates coming for their node. So if you are a node operator, make sure to tune into their latest Copy Cafe, where Rob breaks some of those updates down. Now, before I wrap up today's update, when it comes to Cornucopias, we do have the team now basically implementing buybacks for liquidity. So it states that for this upcoming sale, 20% of the non-Copy currency, which is raised through the sale, will be going straight back to buy the Copy token on the open market, giving them a little bit of a boost when it comes to buying pressure. In addition, it looks like 10% of all Copy sales will be going back into their rewards pool, giving players even more ways to benefit from engaging within their marketplace. So in closing, if you want to support the Copy project, make sure to go ahead and stake to their stake pool, earn some of those rewards. But then on top of that, make sure to participate as a part of their upcoming sale. Now, I do aim to provide an update here in a sit-down interview with Rob and Josh, so definitely make sure to stay tuned. And of course, if you want more content like this, make sure to smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave those down below. I am also a single stake pool operator operating the official Dapp Central stake pool, which is stake pool ticker DAPP. If you want to go ahead and support, make sure to go ahead and consider delegating. Next, we've got the Nuvola team, which has now announced their own brand new blockchain. This is called the Vola Network. Now I'm going to play a very brief video here from Raul breaking down the Vola Network, and then we'll wrap up today's brief update by highlighting Iagon, which is also bringing their own new blockchain.
Hello, I'm Raul, co-founder and CEO of Nuvola Digital. When we first launched Nuvola in April 2024, just 5 months ago, as Cardano's first DePIN aggregator, we did not take that term lightly. After having established a widespread global operation of node infrastructures for our various partners, Nuvola is now primed for the next phase of its evolution from a node operator to a true DePIN aggregator. I would like to proudly introduce Vola Network, Cardano's very first DePIN aggregator partner chain. Vola will add several use cases and benefits to Nuvola. Nuvola Drive will leverage Vola as a true aggregation of decentralized storage, allowing you to choose between Web 2 and Web 3 services such as Iagon, IPFS powered by Filecoin, Google Drive, Dropbox, and many others as your storage provider for Nuvola Drive. Vola Network will also allow for aggregation of CPU, GPU compute providers such as Render, Akash Network, and many others via our unified dashboard with an intuitive user experience. The possibility of using Vola as the transaction settlement layer for our collateralization hub, C-Hub, is also being explored. In summary, Vola Network represents a transformative approach to decentralized management, addressing the pressing challenges of fragmentation and inefficiency in data storage and computation between different providers. We are aiming to simplify resource management for individuals and enterprises alike. More information regarding Vola's development will be released in the coming weeks. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you all at the very next press release.
All right, there you go. Shout out to Raul. I actually just booked a call with him. I'll be sitting down for a fully dedicated interview over the course of the next 48 hours. If you guys have any questions about the Vola network, leave those down below. But in a nutshell, it sounds like this is its own brand new blockchain using the Cardano partner chain framework. If you're not familiar, this allows for brand new blockchains to spin up relatively easily while all benefiting from the decentralization and the stake pool operation of SPOs or node operators. Now, that said, this team, I believe, is aiming to go down through the Catalyst route. The team did have a fully dedicated 1 hour plus X space highlighting the Vola network, how it ties into the Nuvola token and what they're building there. But if I understand this correctly, this is a blockchain that's going to be used to back their Nuvola Drive platform. Again, I'll be sitting down with Raul. There's still a lot of unanswered questions, but definitely keep in mind that Nuvola and Vola are completely separate products. Now, a little bit of the traffic, especially from Nuvola Drive, will feed back into Nuvola or Nuvola token holders, given the fact that a little bit of the fees or the user activity generated from the Nuvola Drive platform will be going back to Nuvola token holders. But Vola in itself or as a network is completely separate from a Nuvola. Now, that said, the Vola network, I believe, will have its own token as well. Just like with any platform, for example, like Cardano, you need ADA for gas in order to make transactions. Vola will have its own network governance token or its utility token in order for you to allow or in order for you to transact directly on it. Now, it seems like they're at the very early stages. Again, I'll be sitting down with Raul to break a lot of this down. But if you have any questions, make sure to leave those down below. As we get ready to wrap up today's update, we're going to close out here by highlighting the fact that the Iagon team is also following a very similar path where they state, in terms of the utility for the Iagon token, right now you can stake in order to provide storage, and you'll also be able to do that with their compute services coming soon. In addition, you'll be able to earn 90% of the storage subscription fees, which again, go straight back to Iagon token holders. And then last but not least, it states we're adding even more. Now, there's a brand new network explorer coming, which means Iagon will have its brand new own blockchain. Yes, IAG will also be used for transaction fees there as well. So a slightly different approach, right? With Nuvola, the Nuvola token will not be able to be used on the Vola network, but with Iagon, it does appear that with their platform, you'll be able to use Iagon on Cardano. You can stake it in order to operate a node, and then you can also, or you will be able to also use it in order to actually transact on the Iagon blockchain. So I've reached out to Dr. Navjeet, the founder of Iagon. I hope to be able to get him on here for an interview. But as I do, leave your comments down below if you have any questions about their compute services, the fact that they've now partnered up with Emergo, or if you have any questions about their upcoming blockchain. That will do it here for today's brief update. Shout out to Just a Gal for some of the resources there when it comes to Iagon. But as a part of today's update, we spoke about the Cornucopias game, Nuvola, the macro markets, taking a look at Bitcoin, and then most recently, the potential reveal of Satoshi Nakamoto. That will do it here for this update. If you found this to be helpful or insightful, I'd appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave those down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.